No? No? One of my ex-girlfriends used to claim that I was like tone deaf because my whistling was so bad. I'm like, what? Like, I don't think I'm great. I don't know. I think I get the tone across. I think you can recognize the song I'm whistling if you're a regular viewer on this channel. So a lot of the times when people want to change the way we express things, the way we talk about things, the vocabulary we use in 21st century culture, it is for the purposes of censorship, or it's for the purposes of, I guess, behavioral engineering, trying to change the way people act. So like one of the most bizarre examples of this, there was actually a law proposed for New York City to ban stand-up comedians from using the N-word. Like, I think it would have banned anyone at like a public gathering or ceremony from using the N-word, something like this. But it actually would have included stand-up comedians. I assume it died in committee. Like, I honestly never even Googled it again to see what happened to that law. But I remember Chris Rock and a bunch of other stand-up comedians were like, oh yeah, right, you're going to stop me from using the N-word and this kind of thing. But you understand, the ultimate purpose of that kind of censorship is the dream, is the fable that you're gonna change human behavior, you're gonna change the underlying values by changing the words that mask those values. And you can feel my skepticism about this. As Shakespeare says, you know, like a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. What am I gonna tell you? We can come up with euphemisms for a lot of things in life, and whatever. The thing being euphemized about is gonna be the same. But, you know, I have a separate reason for why I often want to change the language we use in 21st century culture, and that is to avoid self-deception. So, you know, I have a female friend, and she asked me, she asked me a question in which a crucial phrase was hooking up. Okay, so this is the intro. I'm going to tell you the scenario, but I can't quite cut it down to one sentence here. And I've got to say, part of my feeling is, couldn't we ban the phrase hooking up? I'm not saying I want to ban the F word or the S word. I don't want to ban the action. But there's a really strange kind of self-deception going on in the 21st century, you know, revolving around human relationships and hooking up. So this is put in my mind partly for that reason, and partly because I had a conversation today with somebody who was sincerely inspired by Jordan Peterson. Subject for another video. I'm not a fan of Jordan Peterson, but it was interesting, again, hearing from someone who really responded positively to his kind of cranky old man discourse about monogamy, whatever you want to say. You know, so he has a kind of hyper monogamous view of human relations, that basically everything has to be marriage. I don't know if he even allows sex before marriage, that guy. I don't know if he's taken a hard Catholic position on that or what. He seems to hint at some of that. All right, anyway, leaving that aside, that also put that in mind. So this friend of mine, you know, asked for my opinion, asked for my advice, and she said, well, there's this guy that she's interested in, and that she's to some extent already involved with. And she saw him with another woman on social media. And he's with this other woman. He's approximately 30 years old. I don't know the woman's age, wasn't mentioned in the anecdote. And this other woman he's spending time with is a single mom with a kid. So there's pictures of him on social media with the whole family, so to speak, right? And so she asks him, look, is this serious? Are you in a relationship with this woman? And his answer was, no, we're just hooking up. And, you know, from my perspective, I'm asking, like, even hypothetically, what would that mean? What could that possibly mean? How is it even conceivable that you could be spending quality time with a woman and her kid? You know, what, do you think they don't talk? You think they communicate through hand gestures? You think they mime? You think they have no emotional involvement? What exactly is the illusion or delusion or excuse? What does it mean to be just hooking up? Now, again, no homo, no Jordan Peterson, no false Christian like morality here. But, there is such a thing in our culture as just hooking up, where there's no emotion involved, and you don't talk or care about each other's taste in music or movies, and it's called prostitution, right? So, like, my girlfriend got a little bit upset about me a couple days ago. Not going to tell the whole scenario, because she watched a mainstream TV show called The X-Files, and she knows I'm not interested in watching The X-Files. It's not that big a deal. It's no big deal. But, like, I joked around about it with her. She wasn't really joking. She was pretty upset. I was like, so you're secretly watching The X-Files, and you didn't want me to know you were watching The X-Files because I wouldn't approve of this TV show. Okay. If you care about someone enough to lie about the fact that you're watching The X-Files, but even the opposite, if you care about someone enough that you even want to know their opinion about a mainstream TV show, like, oh, I care about your taste in music and movies. This is setting the bar real low, people. We're not, we're not getting into history and politics and science and ethics and philosophy here. But even at that level, there is no such thing as hooking up, right? Now, on the other hand, okay, hypothetically, whether you are male or female watching this video, whether you are gay or straight, if you just pay someone to pretend to be your girlfriend or boyfriend for one shameful night, if it's just prostitution, and then they want to talk to you about the X-Files, they want to talk to you about this TV show, you may imagine yourself saying, look, homeboy, I do not give a damn what you have to say about the X-Files season 6. I'm not here for that. I don't respect your opinion. Whether I like the show and you hate the show, or maybe I hate the show and you love the show. No. we are just hooking up. That would be just hooking up. But are you going to tell me, or are you going to tell yourself, that it's possible to be involved with somebody, to sleep with them, to have sex with them, to eat meals with them, to have conversations with them, to babysit their kid, to get to know their family, to be involved in this way, and to be quote-unquote just hooking up, right? This is why I say, to me, it's not like censorship. It's not like the M-word. It's not like, trying to eliminate something for just being noxious. I think there's a really kind of dangerous form of self-deception here if we're willing to tell ourselves that that there even is a category called hooking up. And look, I've lived in all these different cultures. Living in Thailand is like the world's strongest argument for not legalizing prostitution. If you think you're the most liberal person in the world, just live for a chunk of time in Thailand and look at the social consequences of living in a country with massive levels of legalized and normalized prostitution, right? Societies like Japan, even Taiwan, the impacts of prostitution are massive. I want to live in a tolerant society. I don't want to live in some kind of repressive Catholic or repressive Muslim society where they really try to stamp these things out. There are all these kinds of things. But I think there is a very fundamental yearning in human nature to be a member of a tribe, to be a member of a clan, to be a member of a small group that's larger than a family. Because, not even in evolutionary time, but in historical time, we all get ill, we all get amoebic dysentery, we all get even the common cold and diarrhea. If you don't have people around you who care for you and love you enough to take care of you when you're sick, if you live in a society where everybody treats everybody else like a prostitute, where all of your relationships are transactional, are short-term exchanges of favors, even if it includes flattery and personal interaction to some extent, where everything is commercialized and commodified to that extent, who's going to take care of you when you're the one who's sick? Who would raise your child if you die early? And who's going to, go through the work of raising a child with? Who's going to build a home with you? Who's going to care about you in that way? I don't think that tendency is in any way ineluctably monogamous. I don't think, Christianity or Islam got it right. But the question of how do you build meaningful relationships friendships or otherwise, in the 21st century, I think we've got some stumbling blocks. And we can remove those stumbling blocks by maybe removing some of the deception and self-deception that's even built into this kind of language. Because at the end of the day, we can all pretend we're cool. We can all pretend we don't care. We can all pretend we're just hooking up. But ultimately, I think what we have to say to one another is, don't treat me like a prostitute. I don't want to wake up and feel like I'm just a prostitute to you. And the odds are, neither do you.